Yeah, I would love to. So I just, on the theme of lows, maybe continue my story about fighting Pixar. Pixar is headquartered in a really small city in the Bay Area, nestled between um, Oakland and Berkeley, called Emeryville. It's a city of industry, 35,000 jobs during the day, maybe 10,000 residents. And they were expanding their campus. So this is back in the era of Steve Jobs still running Pixar. And they had constructed this very closed, gated campus in the middle of the city, right across from City Hall, sort of like this town square area that was not accessible to anybody. And they wanted to expand it to an area that the city had designated for affordable housing. So we thought this was an important place to draw a line for sort of displacement and corporate takeover of our communities. And we fought the project for like a year or so, and then eventually we lost the vote at City Council. So we took it to a referendum. We gathered signatures and put it on the ballot, and that's when the lawn signs started popping up. Imagine a lawn sign that has Buzz Lightyear, Woody, Sully, and Nemo saying, "Keep Pixar in Emeryville." We got crushed. People were with us at the doors. They were like, "Yeah, the developers need to be held accountable, and they need to be providing benefits, and they can't corporations just can't come in and do whatever they want." But oh, my kid loves Toy Story, loves Nemo. Anyways, I don't know if that's really a lesson, but it was a very hard defeat and hard to beat those cartoon characters. But the lessons learned over the years that I wanted to share. Honestly, I don't think it's any real news for anybody who's fought City Hall or fought corporations. CBAs are not a silver bullet. Like anything else, they have to be a manifestation of our power. It's just a tool to use to get you more of what you want, to make it more exact. Oftentimes, citywide policy will give, even if you can win something on community benefits, it'll oftentimes give developers like a menu of choices. Hey, you can have affordable housing, you can build affordable housing, or maybe a park, or maybe you can provide a couple of jobs. And they'll pick the one that's the least expensive for them. But CBAs are a decent tool because you can get and demand exactly what you need for your community. But again, if you don't have the power, it's like any organizing, your success scales with our power. To win our CBA in Seattle, it took us 3 years to build the political will to threaten the project. 3 years of organizing and advocacy. And even then, we were uncertain going into the sort of final 6-month stretch of public votes. And just so you know, like I said, it was called the Dearborn Project, and it was a 600,000 square feet of retail at the edge of our international district, which is still a place for mom and pop businesses, API businesses, API seniors living there. It was a terrible location. It was going to really disrupt the community, and it was going to feature a Target, Best Buy, a grocery store. It was like a kind of a vertical mall. And the good news is we won the CBA. It was the first in the Northwest. The bad news was the recession killed the project. So we never had a chance to actually enforce the CBA and see like how it actually turned out. Because I think that's another thing, right? It's like it's one thing to win these agreements. It's another to actually enforce them. And you have to have some durable institutions that are going to be around for a while to enforce and make sure you're getting the benefits that you've fought so hard to win. The other thing I want to say is to win like real lasting benefits, like the power that you need, you have to demonstrate that you can either kill or reduce the scope of a project. And that really is what the bottom line. A developer, whether it's a private developer or sometimes the public developer, they have to really feel like you're going to nerf their plans. And that's really the only way to get them to the table and to be putting real benefits onto the table. I mean, the benefits you want to win, they need to cost money, right? That's what we need. We need resources. We're trying to harness capital as it comes into our communities. It's really hard in Seattle and in Washington to actually threaten a project. For example, in Washington, local governments cannot subsidize private developers. It is written into our Washington state constitution. There shall be no gift of public funds. And this is a sort of like really a shockingly stark difference between Washington and Illinois, right? I mean, when I was in Chicago, it's like subsidies were the currency of like the political machine. And when I landed in Washington, I was frankly shocked that you could actually have a government that doesn't subsidize local developers. But that also meant that, you know, if we can't threaten a subsidy, it was really hard to come up with the leverage to threaten a project. And in the case of the Dearborn project that I mentioned, they needed 2 acres of city-owned streets and alleys, which is that was how we were able to threaten the project. Got it. And then Amalia wanted me to focus on one part of CBAs, which is local hiring. And there's 2 kinds of local hiring. One is for the construction jobs and building it, which are usually the best jobs. The second is the permanent jobs that are there after a project is built, typically service sector jobs and low-wage paying jobs for most projects. In the case of office buildings, I guess that wouldn't be true. But I just want to say, like on the construction job benefit, which I've worked on for many years, it is one of the hardest things to win in a CBA that is real and provides career opportunities for people with barriers to employment, and especially the construction trades. I mean, it kind of seems like a no-brainer that you should hire local residents for construction work that's happening in the backyard, but in reality, it requires an enormous amount of coordination to make successful. Our goal has always been to put people into good union construction jobs where there's a paid apprenticeship, but the amount of coordination that you need to make that successful is very difficult. And really, we didn't make progress in Seattle until we won a citywide policy. We call it priority hire, which is for local hiring on our public works construction jobs. And it's actually a very robust and successful program, but it requires, again, an enormous amount of investment and coordination to make successful.